Hi, I'm Greg Lefebvre, and this is The Compulsive Storyteller, a series of short personal stories where we explore the idea that truth can be stranger than fiction. This week is a mini episode featuring a short story which we call a shorty. This one is entitled The Nightlife Critic. I met her at the tail end of a drunken dance party. We were still dancing when the other dancers called it quits, so the host asked us to leave too. We had a nightcap at a bar down the block that stays open late. When we started to talk over our drinks, I was happy to discover that she was really smart. The other even more interesting thing about her was that she wrote for the New York Times. Her beat was nightlife in the city. Next, we had a dinner date. I picked her up in a cab, and the first red flag fluttered when she angrily redirected the cab driver on how we should drive to get to the restaurant. "No, you should have turned right on 40th. Now we have to go all the way around because there's 2 one-ways in a row." She whispered to me that the driver was just, quote-unquote, taking us for a ride, as the saying goes. Having driven a cab earlier in my life, I took issue with what she said, but I didn't voice my opinion. She was totally wrong about the 2 one-ways in a row. That I knew. Then there was another red flag at dinner when she was short with the waitress. I was sure I heard her order a Riesling, not a dry Riesling. When she angrily sent back the Riesling because it wasn't dry enough, my doubts about her increased. My overall philosophy is that life isn't easy, and I try to treat everybody with respect no matter who they are. I've waited tables, driven a cab, and been a short order cook. I'm sure my new friend had done none of these things. So I now had serious doubts about my New York Times nightlife critic. But then she invited me as her date to an event that was hard to refuse. A new Midtown hotel was having their grand opening night, and on the first floor of the hotel, a high-end restaurant with a famous chef was also opening its doors for the first time. In the cab on the way over, she behaved pretty well. She said she couldn't resist letting the venue know that we were coming, even though it was the New York Times' policy not to warn people in an event that they would be sending a critic. The owners had pulled out all the stops for the opening, unrolling the red carpet along with a red cord to hold back the press, as a line of limos stopped to let out A-list celebrities one after another. We drew little attention when we pulled up in the middle of the line in our yellow cab. Once inside, though, everything changed. When they realized the New York Times had arrived, we were ushered to what could have been considered the best seats in the house. At a table for 2, surrounded by tables occupied by people I recognized, Biggie Smalls, Grace Jones, movie stars of all shapes and sizes, and of course the mayor. Given our prominent table and our unrecognizable faces, people were confused, particularly when the hotel owner and the chef came over to our table. At the next table, I heard someone ask the waitress who we were, and she responded, "The New York Times." We were the first to be served, just as the hotel owner and the chef came over to our table, so we both stood up to greet them. At that moment, as if by magic, 2 white-clad restaurant servers seemed to pop out of the floor and cover our food with 2 large silver-handled domes so it wouldn't get cold. After our conversation when they left, I said to my new friend with a smile, "That's the first and last time that will ever happen to me for the rest of my life." She had no idea what I was talking about. Thank God that was our last date. Are you ready to tell your own story on The Compulsive Storyteller? We're launching a new segment of guest storytelling, and we want to hear your stories. Email a voice recording to hello@thecompulsivestoryteller.com. I'll play selected stories on upcoming episodes. Try to be as clear as possible in your recording, and we reserve the right to lightly edit them for length and clarity. Leave your name or contact information in your voicemail or email, and let us know if you'd like the story to be anonymous. I can't wait to hear from you. The Compulsive Storyteller is now co-produced by Greg Lefebvre and Fadia Montserrat, who's also arranged the music and created the special effects. Emily Ramon does design, research, editing, and marketing. Peter Kokoma has made our theme music and for many seasons co-produced the show with me. If you enjoyed this week's episode, let us know. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at The Compulsive Storyteller, and we'd love to hear from you. This podcast is independently produced, so we really appreciate all your help and support. Share the show with your friends, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and please leave a review. You can also check out our website, thecompulsivestoryteller.com, for more information. Thanks for listening, and if you didn't like this one, the next one will be another story. All characters and events portrayed in this podcast are based on my truth, with some names and facts changed for privacy. The conversations and dialogues are based on my best memory, but are not word-for-word recreations.